It's Mailbag Monday. Let the opening commence. Beginning with Stir Stick Stout from Half Pints Brewing in Winnipeg. They describe it as a medium-bodied coffee stout with notes of dark roast coffee and semi-sweet chocolate. Sounds like a fine way to have your morning coffee. So the first thing in the mail is, what does it say here? Android converters. What's going on here? Little keychain USB adapter thing. So USB-A, USB-C, USB micro, I think. So why would they call that Android? Oh, is that an Android on the go thing? Hang on for just a second. So is this a USB on the go thing? I don't know why I said Android on the go before. It plugs in there. Oh, hey, it recognized something. Cool. So if it works on the old S3, it'll likely work on the Note 10. So I'm just going to play with it on this S3 here. I'll plug in my ancient, what is this, MP3 player with an SD card in there. And we'll go into the file manager. Hey, it recognizes that there's a USB mass storage device. Cool. There we go, USB drive A. It's got some stuff and things in it. Cool. Can it play a video off that SD card? Yes, it can. Cool. Well, that could be a handy little guy. I mean, I've got some USB on-the-go adapters around here, but they are one standard at a time. So I think that could be pretty handy to have. Just, throw in my laptop case. And yeah, I like it. USB 3.0 2-in-1 OTG adapter, female to micro USB male and Type-C male connector. I won this at auction for the princely sum of $1.72 Canadian with free shipping. The link that I include down below is going to go to a search for this because, of course, it was an auction and it's expired now. But there's not too much more to say about it down here. It's got a Type-A and a Type-C and a micro. And it allows your phone to act as a USB host, so you can just plug in random stuff to it, and it should work. They say that it is compatible with multiple different models, and I tried it out with a really old Samsung Galaxy phone, and it worked with that, so we should be good. Next thing in, it says Department Reference LEDs. I do like a good package of LEDs. Let's just see what we have this time. Just a small package of them, bubble wrapped and everything. Wow, a really small package of 3mm LEDs. 20 pieces 3mm yellow flickering LEDs. Oh, are these those candle type LEDs? Yeah, that's exactly what they are. Just flame simulation flicker. So if you need an indirect simulation of a fire or something like that, or a candle flame, actually that would make a pretty good base for a model campfire, wouldn't it? Or a fireplace in a room of a model house, something like that. That's cool. I got 20 of them. So it's not going to be obviously used in a huge project that uses a lot of them, but just for effects lighting, that seems pretty cool. 20 pieces 3mm yellow candle light flicker, ultra bright flickering LED, LEDs light new. Yep, got to get all those keyword stuff in there. For 20 of these, I paid $6.13 with free shipping. Yeah, that's a little bit expensive for LEDs, but these being kind of niche, kind of special, that's about the cheapest I could find them for. They run between 1.8 and 2.2 volts, which is fairly typical of a yellow LED. They emit somewhere between 585 and 590 nanometers of light. Illumination, whatever, viewing angle 20 degrees. We can see them from the side pretty well too. And the leg lengths, yeah, whatever. That's just standard LED stuff. What do we have in here next? This thing says plastic guitar capo. Okay. Guitar stuff is always fun to have. That's not a guitar capo. That's not plastic. Arrgh. 2 things in one bag. Nice. That is a guitar capo, and it is made of plastic. So for anyone who's not a musician, you may not know what a capo is. It basically allows you to transpose the chords that you're playing on a guitar without having to resort to bizarre fingerings. So for instance, let me see if I can remember. So that's a D major chord. And if I wanted to just play that same shape further up, I'd have to contort my fingers like this. But with a capo, I can just put it on there and make my same shape. Anywhere I want. And you'll see folk players doing this more often than any other style of guitar player. But it is something that, oops, that's not performance. It is something that guitar players in any style can use if they want to, especially if you're playing with singers, like if you're playing a song that you know with a singer who sings in a different range than you learned the song in, a different key, then you can just quickly use the same fingering shapes that you already know for that song, not have to think about changing the key on the fly, which you can do, but you can also just do that and play it the same way that you normally would. Very, very handy little device. Normally they're made out of metal. Normally they're not as cheap as this one probably is. But just as an emergency backup, that's not a bad thing to have around. One piece quick change tune clamp key trigger capo for acoustic or electric guitar. I paid, all of $2.47 for these. Normally they're in the $10 plus range at a normal music store for a proper metal one. So it's not bad just for hacking around the house. You don't need a fancy one. And I don't transpose stuff that often. I'm not that good. I'm not that experienced. So just having a cheap plastic one for, under $3, not a bad idea. Oh yeah, and the other thing in the same package is this little clampy thing. I didn't recognize it when it came out, but when I was looking for the capo, I noticed this in the listing. It is a clamp that's designed to help clamp the glass surface, the glass build surface, the glass bed down onto your build surface on the 3D printer. When I bought it, I thought there was more than one in the picture, but I failed to read the fine print, so I just got one. If it works, I may have to get some more, because that looks pretty slick. 3D printer parts, glass clip, aluminum alloy, hotbed build platform. $1.67 for one of these. You can see based on the picture why I thought there was more than one in the package, but whatever. That's pretty cheap. If it works, it's probably worth the money. I don't know what all these lies are about here, but there's pretty much nothing. Really? Seriously? Wow. Hotbed fixing clamp, black aluminum alloy, as shown, yeah. So it can clamp between 3 and 9 millimeters of thickness. That might be okay. So originally the printer came with these little formed metal clips that is clipped on there, but they were pretty tight, uncomfortably tight. So currently I'm just using these little clips here, which work fine, these little binder clips. But this thing, I think, if you just screw it on there, it tightens down as tight as you want it. And hey, it even clears the belt tensioner. Well, that's slick. Okay. Now on the front, this isn't a big deal, but on the back, I have had to take one of the arms off this one so that it clears the motor back there. So I think I might want to try this guy on the back just so that it's a bit more low profile, and I could even put it with the thumb screw up, although I probably don't want the thumb screw biting into the glass. And I put it down. No, it knocks into the motor too. Okay, so that may not be the best idea unless I put a couple of them on either side of the motor like that. I don't know. I mean, the spring clips work. This looks kind of slick. I might just order a couple more of these. They were cheap. Why not? Well, this is going pretty well. No duds so far. Let's see if we can get something amusing and horrible this time. What does this say? Pincels? Wonder what that means in English. One way to find out. Ooh, it's tweezers. Oh, specifically ceramic tip tweezers. Okay. I like these, and I do have a few around here already. These ones, you've probably seen them when I'm soldering surface mount. But these ones are reverse action. Oh, and they're quite a bit stiffer and stronger too. So reverse action lets you clamp onto something and then not need to worry about maintaining your clamping force on them. Ceramic tip, because it's not electrically conductive, it's not thermally conductive. So when you're soldering with it, it doesn't wick the heat away instantly. You can't actually solder it to your workpiece. I've had cheap tweezers do that to me in the past. It doesn't wick heat away. And also non-static as well. So all kinds of good things. And quite thick metal, quite stiff springiness. That's cool. So that's the straight one. This one is got curved jaws on it, so it can get out of your way if you need it to. And this one has, oh, it's another pair of straight jaws, but just slightly offset. Ow, get out that plastic. Yeah. So there's the three shapes of them, and that will complement nicely these other ones that I've got. For some reason, I thought I had three of the black ones, but regardless, these look like almost the same tips on that one and the same tips on that one. The other cool thing about these is these tips are replaceable, so you can buy new ones in case these get damaged, or I can just swap them in out of the other pair. So that gives me all manner of tweezing opportunities. I like it. Repack anti-static ceramic tweezers, inverted tweezers, precision heat, blah, blah, blah. I paid $11.69. Nice. With free shipping. Even better. Oh, this guy doesn't have them in stock. Okay, fine. I will link you down below to, I guess, a search for this, and hopefully you should be able to find some. For some reason, the description is all in French. Okay. Oh yeah, there's another benefit of these. The tips are non-magnetic as well as being anti-static. They can handle up to 1500 degrees Celsius. I don't think I'm going to be soldering that hot, but it's good to know. Yeah, okay, I suppose you could use it for putting microgreens on your delicate little plate. I certainly wouldn't, but somebody might. Anyway, there is the size of them. They're all 9 millimeters across, 135 to 140 millimeters long, and the weights in case you care. And the last thing in, which is, as usual, the largest thing as well. It says that it is 3D printer filament. Okay. It is, in fact, bright yellow 3D printing filament. Is that a similar yellow to... Yeah, that's close enough. Okay. So I could print more of those. Cool. So the only critical thing about this stuff is the size right? And it is, in fact, 1.7 millimeter, so that's good. I'm going to assume that it's PLA because that's what I would have ordered, but I will definitely check. Yeah, this isn't a huge amount, and yeah, I could get a kilogram of it for about 25 bucks-ish, when maybe a bit more with shipping. But I don't use a lot of colors. Most of what I print is in just utilitarian colors like gray or black, or what else have I got kicking around here? No, that's gray as well. So is that. You know, it's color doesn't really matter, but for when color does matter, I just usually need just a little splash of it. So having a small amount kicking around of a few different colors is not a bad idea. And if I can get them cheap, which I assume I did, why not? 30 millimeters new premium 3D printer filament, 1.75 millimeter PLA RepRap MakerBot yellow, no spool. I got this at auction for $2.01 American or $2.74 Canadian with free shipping for 30 meters. And again, I don't print in fancy colors very much, so that's probably going to do me for my bright yellow needs for quite some time. Not much else to say down here. Print temperature for PLA is between 190 and 220. Yep, that is correct for PLA. Experimentally determined, different brands use different temperatures, and this is, of course, unbranded, so we'll have to tinker with it a little bit, but that won't take very much. Maybe, probably take 10 or 20 centimeters at most off this reel to figure out what the temperature should be. So that's not bad. As I said, I bought this at auction. I'm just going to link you to this closed auction, but feel free to use the keywords to search around. This guy had a bunch of these 30-meter spools, 30-meter coils, I guess, for auction back in September. And occasionally I like to look for them again, just to get, a rainbow of colors just for effects, because I don't need, as I already said a couple of times, I don't need huge spools of colors that I'm only going to use tiny little bits of occasionally. And there is the contents of today's Mailbag Monday haul. As opposed to the last mailbag, this one is all stuff that I'm going to find a use for. No duds in here. The only disappointment was that the picture showed 3 of these and there was only 1. But they're cheap, and I think I'm going to order a couple more because I think they are good little things. So, I think I've already talked about what I'm planning on using these for. Questions and comments down below as usual. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreon supporters and my YouTube channel members for helping me keep the mailbags rolling in, and importantly, keeping my beer fridge full as well. That's also an important thing. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you later.